Hello again. This is the latest project off the bench. It is currently July 2026. This is a special series of case two-way or rollover plows. There are only 5 of these made. This is number 5 of 5. Number 1, 2, and 3 are in the US, and 4 and 5 remain here in Canada. As I talk, I'll just slowly move the plow around different angles so you can have a good look at it as I speak. I have to apologize on this particular video. My tripod's not cooperating with me, so it may be a little blurry at times and a bit shaky, so that's on me. This is a side project of a larger one of a set of 10 Minneapolis-Moline versions of the plow, circa 1974. And along with that is 10 Chrome Oliver plows of the same vintage. So this is a large project, but it ran in parallel to the last one, which is my Ford and Glencoe cultivator. The reason for that is that anybody in the hobby these days knows full well there's a serious shortage of fasteners. Believe it or not, I was only able to finish getting these plows together only very recently in the last several weeks. I've been chasing fasteners for this particular plow and the rest of my toys since October 2024. So it's not good out there in the hobby, and some of you who are in it know full well what I'm talking about. And this particular plow here uses a lot of fasteners. So between the Ford Glencoe cultivator and this one, there were thousands that were used. The part count on this one is 404 on this particular toy. And this is a fully working plow. There are 3 major fully working components: the trip mechanisms themselves, the wheel mechanism, of course, and then the rotating 3-point hitch, which I'll demonstrate here later. For some reason, I've done case toys in the past, but maybe it was this particular batch of paint. I had a difficult time with this paint. It was tacky, hard to dry, hard to apply. But sometimes I think suppliers perhaps change chemical compositions for environmental reasons. Maybe it was the weather I was in. I'm not sure, but this was not an easy plow to paint. This is an interesting video because it's probably going to be the last plow I build, unless the fastener situation around the world at this stage of the game changes. It hasn't been easy, and so given the number of fasteners, you can just see how many are in there. You simply can't work with those types of delays and invest the time and effort into it. So that's where we're kind of at now. I mentioned this is a 5-set series of 5, and then I also mentioned the special sets I've never done before, including chroming. I should also mention an honorable mention for 3 others: an Oliver, a White, and a Cockshutt that were done 101 specials. I had the parts and components, and while trying to navigate through the fastener shortage, I was able to assemble those, and luckily they came together and when I got my complete order of fasteners fulfilled. I'll stop here for a second, and now this plow is facing, as you would imagine, I'll just go from behind here, in the proper direction, and I'm going to just flip the plow over and continue just going through this with you and show you some moving parts next. There we are. The plow has been flipped in the opposite direction. You can just tell how the case, the logo, and the model number are upside down now, as well as just being in the opposite direction. I'll just flip this around here, and you can just tell again how this works. And of course, how the wheel is in the opposite direction because it operates by gravity, and there are these stops. But I'll just put the toy aside here for one moment and just go over here and take you through a couple of moving parts. I'll do it differently here. I'll just start from the last part you just seen, which was the entire axle mechanism, how that works and flips around. This is assembled and built differently, or separate from the plow, and bolted on separately. You can see how the stops are on and how you can change where they are. I just put the stops where you see them, and how nicely and easily that moves back and forth and rotates. And if I go back over here for 1 second, you can see right here, there's 2 bolts, here and here. And this is simply bolted on like so. And everything lines up perfectly. And the wheel, of course, is later painted and put on and all that good stuff. Now, that is the one part I want to show you, demonstrate for you. The second one I want to do right now is the actual trip mechanism. So what you're going to see is right here, just this, less the bottom. I took the bottom off so it's clearer and easier to demonstrate how this works. Now, this came in, people have asked me, there's a comment that was made, well, this seems like a tall plow. It was. There are a lot of different options that made for this plow. One was a spring trip, and one was a shear bolt. This is a shear bolt. And for some reason, when White designed these, the shear bolt design was actually about 6 to 8 inches taller, depending on what bottoms you put on it. And these are the biggest ones you can get. So it sits taller than some of the other plows two-way plows are made by other manufacturers. So that's actually accurate. So here's what I'm going to show you. Again, I apologize for not having a proper working tripod with me. That is that mechanism, what it looks like. Can it stand up for me here? Probably not, because I'm filming. But this is what it looks like, as you can tell, right like so, you see. So the bottom bolt here is number 72. Your shear pin is right there. So if you're plowing along and you hit something hard, usually a rock, this pin, which I'll just take out, would snap off. And as you're going along, this trip mechanism would flip up. And of course, this is these 2 holes here down below is how you mount your bottom. And then of course you'd have to reset it. And you can just see how you can see the hole ready for the shear pin, how that falls in perfectly. I won't bother putting that in for you right now because I'm doing this all one-handed. But it shows you how this works and how that shear pin lines up every time. All 10 of these work the same way. Now, if someone wants to get creative, who has ever bought this plow, wants to show a plow that's been tripped up, I'll just look at this one here for a second. You would take some paint remover, take that bolt out, sorry, right here. My camera drifted on me. And then unscrew that bolt and flip it up. However, you'll need to get some authentic case paint. And I always use authentic colors. I don't go to any color match or hardware store for my stuff. And that's how that would work. I'll just stop here for a second, reset the plow in the other direction, and just go through some brochure and information of the configuration of this plow. And we're back to its regular positioning. Now, you've probably noticed, well, where are the coulters on this plow? This plow had many different types of options and specifications to it. And I'll get to that here momentarily through some case brochures that I have. And but this plow was designed and built with a specific region of North America in mind, and that was the American South, southern Georgia, in peanut country. I've communicated with folks that use these in that territory, in that part of the world, and the peanut operators, peanut farmers down there did not use coulters. Very light soil, and after harvesting, they disked right away and then plowed it, and given the soil conditions, coulters were not used. But you can see how you could put coulters on here. This is ready for them, believe it or not. Here, and of course here. And there were brackets up here for others, and here as well. So it is set up for it, but they're not put on. There was a bracket that you had to put in the very front for the very first coulter, but some of them had just one in the front, one in the back, depending on where you are. But again, this is specifically made and designed for peanut country. And so I figured to do something a little bit different, and that is the reason why it's configured in this way and set up in this way. If you're a collector of brochures, this being a white design plow, I found probably the best description and pictures for it, and of course it's being a case model right here. Again, I'll just slide over, and if you happen to have this brochure, I'll just flip it around here. It seems to be, that seems to be the form number right there if you're looking for it. If I open this up, you can see how big this plow was. And here is a, which is a big tractor. It looks to be at least probably a 1570. And look how low, when that thing is flipped around, a 5 bottom, it's close to the ground. Now, again, you can see how you can move that the wheel assembly. Either I'll go back to the plow itself here or back here, which is it's prepared for. I put it here. It just looked aesthetically more pleasing, and most of the plows I did see in that from the peanut country for some reason had that assembly there, so that's why I put it in that location. Yeah, so this is an interesting, very interesting picture of such a large plow. Another one here, and I'll just put it to the side, is this particular brochure here called, its case called moldboard plows. And if you're collecting brochures, it seems to be, that's your number right there. But on the back of this publication shows the complete standard, optional, and special equipment that this particular plow came with. It could be configured many different ways because it was used in many different parts of North America. I'm in southwestern Ontario, didn't see hardly any of these. And given that probably some of the firmer soil conditions, I don't think this particular configuration will work very well here. But this is used in hilly area. And if you do some Google searching, the purpose of these particular plows, they were used in different areas. But there's parts of Georgia, they never saw a one-way plow. The two ways were the norm. So, but again, this one here just goes through many options with this particular plow by case, which was also the Ford and the white and its other labeled models, the Oliver, the Cockshutt, and the Moline. So at this point, I'm good just for scale and context. I'm going to get my 5488 International and hook it up for you just to see so you can see what it looks like. And there we are, the 5488 hooked up to the plow. It gives you an idea of size and scale. The plow is very heavy, and I would not recommend being hooked up to the 3-point hitch of any toy, to be honest. It doesn't matter if it's a metal 3-point hitch or some of them are come in plastic. This is a solid brass beam, the entire, so this plow weighs about a couple of pounds. And given the lightness of these, and detail of these toys, there's no doubt in my mind over time, if they had plastic arms, they would probably warp downwards, or these white metal arms of these Asian made toys, tractors, or maybe perhaps even break. So just a heads up to you if you happen to have one of these plows. The mechanism for this with white, of course, made for case, was that the width of where the 3-point hitch arms would come into here was one size, and you had spacers. So it was actually could be category 2 or category 3 hookup. So that's how it worked. This is probably not a bad combination in most parts of the U.S. South where that particular plow was used. And it actually looks pretty good, to be honest. That's about it for this plow. Again, 404 parts later. Maybe the very last one I make for a very long time, if ever again, unfortunately. And I hate to repeat that to many who have heard me in the past, but it's just the situation it is in the hobby right now. If you happen to have one, I hope you enjoyed the plow. It was, again, it may be a 5-furrow rollover, but in fact, there are 10 bottoms. So it's in fact a 10 bottom plow. And so there's a lot going on here. Anyhow, thank you for watching. And if you have any comments or feedback, just please list them on the below, and I'd appreciate it. Take care, and until next time.